Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our third installment of ConvoCahoots featuring Sehar Bhojani. I'm so excited to have another installment of ConvoCahoots. But before we're diving on in, I just wanted to say thank you all for tuning in, either live or viewing this as a recording in the future. We are reeling into the holiday season right now at Cahoots, so we are very happy to have this as our second to last offering before our Cahoots offices close for the holidays. If you are tuning in, I will be posting some links in the chat below, or to the side wherever your live chat is, or comments, for you to consider donating to Cahoots Theater and to view our other free online offerings, such as our holiday concert that we premiered on Saturday, actually, from 8 fabulous artists who performed classic holiday tunes as well as originals, and our other online offerings, like our other installments for ConvoCahoots. For tonight, if you have any questions for Sehar or Stephen, please leave them in the chat and I'll relay it to them on our Zoom. But with that, welcome Sehar and Stephen. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited.
Hi.
Hello. So I'm going to introduce Stephen first before I skedaddle. So Stephen, we're so excited for you to be here. So this is your little intro, your little bio. So Stephen Jackman Twerkoff is a wandering poet who creates poetic collage, dreamscape, and odysseys through performance and visual art. They are one of the creators and performers of the show Black Boys, which premiered in 2016, and they're the poet in the Queer Songbook Orchestra. Stephen has performed in several theater productions in Canada, including The Glass Menagerie, Angels in America, Bocelli in Fire, Sunday in Sodom, and Trout Stanley. Stephen is curious about exploring the inherent power in people, the relationships between us, and the unknowns within. They seek to create work that activates the soul and takes us into a world of imagination like Willy Wonka. Thank you so much for being our interviewer today, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Yay. So I'm going to leave you to it to just have a little chat and for us to get to know Sehar.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, see you later. Oh my God. Hi, Sehar Bhojani.
Hello, Stephen Jackman Twerkoff.
I feel like I never say your last name.
I'm gonna do it too.
So close.
But it's weird because I always say your full name. Usually, I'm Stephen.
It's really intense. So I'm just gonna pretend like nobody else is here. It's just us hanging out. Like we might break the internet. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. Just the tune-ins just mount exponentially. Half an hour mark. There's 7 million people.
Well,
so you are Sehar Bhojani. You are my friend. You are Sehar. I'm talking to you, but also to the wider world. Sehar is a producer, actor, artist, director, creator, thinker, incredible human. You are one of the most incredible people I know. You work as a producer at Cahoots Theater, and you are the associate artistic director at Theater Direct. You are always creating and working on your own things, and you're from Hamilton. Big up, Hamilton.
just too much.
More and more will come out, I'm sure, through the interview. And if there's anything you want to add, obviously you can describe yourself, obviously, how you want to be described. I wanted to just mention, like, we're good friends because we met at school, at the National Theater School when we started in 2010. But I remembered we actually met at the audition. Do you remember? And you said I was like really intense or something.
You were very intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating? No.
No, because like you were like warming up, and I didn't really like have a warm up. Like you were like, everyone was like getting into it, and I was like, my sister was with me, and she's like, these people are like really intense.
I used to feel like before every audition or monologue, I would do these like really intense dances. I still do that. Honestly, I stopped warming up as much, and I feel like it's a thing I need to start doing more again.
Yeah, it's actually so important. And like Teddy's work, like I'm realizing the importance now, but we'll get it. I mean, maybe we'll talk about Teddy.
So I'm interviewing you today, and you're about your artistry and your life and theater and whatever you want to talk about. I got this necklace last night from my roommate at Solstice, and it's the theater,
That's cute.
tragedy, comedy.
You should get added.
The theater masks, and life is tragedy and comedy, with a laugh and a tear. I wanted to get right off into it and ask you, I guess, what's your wildest dream?
Oh, so we're starting with that one. Okay.
I don't know. It's like, yeah. And it can be like creatively. I mean, there's so many different dreams. Like, obviously, it can be anything. It can be that thing that you just think about that's like your big dream, but because of whatsoever limitations, maybe you don't think it's realistic, or it could be your dream for the world or your family. So it can be what's one of your many wildest dreams, because I know you are a big dreamer. And also, I wanted to mention we are born just a couple weeks from each other. So I love the idea of us like both being crying babies at the same time.
Yes.
1992 in February. Birthday's coming up.
Birthday's coming up. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like overall, like, my wildest dream is to just like always only do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean like what I want, when I want it, however I want to do it. But I mean that, like, I want to, because I like producing, and I clearly I like producing. Clearly I like performing. Clearly I like doing this work.
Yeah.
I want to be able to like call the shots in a way on all of it. Like, like decide what and how I want to just live, is that?
You want to like, I guess, materialize your vision. Yeah. Of art. I don't know, like to actually
like
to be able to lay it out before you with kind of other voices and hampering it or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool. And with that, like, let me consult my notebook. I'm like on the phone today. I could talk on, and now that like all of the internet is watching. How many people are watching?
Can we get that in the chat? Like,
we need the stats. Excuse me. Can you get your big headphones?
You turn to the side and it's like the cord.
Yeah. Okay, so 4. Oh
my God, we have 10. Oops.
That's huge. Double digits.
Double.
So, well, do you want to tell me a bit about your work and what's inspiring you right now? And I know you're excited about some of the projects happening, so I'd love to hear about them.
Yeah, I'm excited. How do I start? I'm excited about a project coming up at Theater Direct. I'm excited by a lot of the programming we're doing at Theater Direct, and I'm also excited by the programming at Cahoots. I'm excited by all programming, but there's something I'm being offered just like I'm being offered just a chance to kind of engage in like what those both sides look like, because I'm learning that they both inform. I'm talking about the both sides of like acting and producing, creating, and being someone in a leadership capacity. But through that lens, I'm excited for Hack Lab, which is a process-driven lab that we're doing at Theater Direct, and it's honestly been like a saving grace. I think I said this during a pop-in meeting in the second cohort. Like, I was like, yeah, like just knowing that I'm coming online to like talk with these other artists and engage and like talking about the art and the work that we do is like really really, really calming and soothing, something I look forward to. And I feel like that's what I'm excited about, like that kind of work to happen. There's lots of development work happening, and just to be in those conversations of creating something is like, I just find it so exciting right now. Like
Mhm.
I can't go anywhere. Like we can't go anywhere. I want to get into a space so bad, but we can't do that. And just the idea of like trying to be fresh in a way is refreshing. Right.
Mhm. And are you finding it's that let me just on my thought process. It, is freshness happening easily for you? Are these things coming up in your creative vitality? Is it kind of thriving and coming out right now?
It feels like it is. It feels like this whole pandemic, if we were to chart it, like at the beginning, it really wasn't.
Mhm.
And then it came like a period of frustration, like
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And now it feels like, you know, we've been working a lot. We've gotten our workout to so many kids. Like
Mhm.
Erase Renew Normal, like that's something else I'm so excited about because that's a show that like we're directly talking about what the kids are going through. And I know this because we have talkbacks with them and they tell me, like they
Mhm.
say it.
Mhm.
Class shared their work and like some of the most inspiring and insightful moments that it feels like it's just a privilege to be even list like they're sharing with me, so I feel very privileged. but
Mhm.
but like because it's vulnerable, like creating something's vulnerable, reading in front of people something from your heart and from your heart is like is vulnerable. um but anyway, yes, but it feels like because we're in those conversations of like, okay, how do we reach these audiences right now in this time, that is requiring such innovative thinking, I like to call it. And I think it's innovative, but you know, it's requiring that, so therefore that is kind of unlocking different parts
Mhm.
my creativity in different ways, which is like I think a testament to like the true link between like just working in the arts. Like you can actor and producer can feed into each other, you know.
Mhm. Um, yeah, it's really, I feel like at first, I know I mean, there's a lot of people missing live theater and things like that. And obviously I miss it too. And it's something very exciting. I love being there, but there is a certain kind of like, you can really play with how you use online and the internet. Also, the way people are reached is, I mean, not everyone has access to computer and everything, but it does kind of create a wider range. And there's a lot of free programming online, and it's really nice to use this. And like I shared my practice with TO11, and I was like really getting into it. I was sharing the screen. I was doing like so many weird things that are only kind of possible with a computer. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, anything is, instead of like longing for this other thing, I was just like, okay, this is what we got. How can we play with it? Just like, even like, you can just like, like there's so much to do.
My, and we've been seeing like so much like I haven't been seeing so much, but I was before. I was seeing so much theater before. I felt like I was really like engaging, and then all of a sudden, like there was nothing.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, it feels good. Like it feels nice not to have to like just to go in to see a show because I'm thinking about it from so many different whatever. But you're right. Like now it's like there's so many different ways to come at the audience, and it's fun to. I think it is fun to figure out what that is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um what do you look for? What excites you in like theater? And maybe through this time has that like changed and you're like, because I feel like for me, I've had time to be like, you're so caught up and it's like, I think I like that. I think I like that. Maybe that's good too. And then like sitting away and I'm just like, maybe there's something I just like haven't even seen yet. And it's like this hunger or
Yeah.
craving to see something so out of this world. So like what's something you'd love to see or
I don't think I've seen it, and I mean that with respect to all the work that
I love this.
I'm going to commercial. We're going to commercial. Thank you so much for coming. Um, but I don't. But and not to say like I just don't think anyone's found it yet. That's what I have to say.
But people like such different things, so they may have found it for themselves.
Exactly that too. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, no
Which is
found.
No, I totally. I guess what I mean is no one's found the one way to do it, but there is no one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we can feel like there's only one way to do it, but there's not. And you're right. Yeah, I have seen lots of different stuff and lots of things have excited me, but I don't just like nothing that I'm like, oh, this is how I want to do it.
Yeah, and maybe that's because you wanna make it.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what you're talking about, being able to do exactly what you want, creatively, whenever I want.
Don't forget that part.
Like, I feel like Gossip Girl. It's like very gossip. Blair Waldorf. We watched that. We definitely watched that. We watched True Blood. We watched Scandal. This is our how we grew up. Okay.
Yeah. This was the foundation.
Where we learned to act.
Yes, upon which we built.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Honestly, I think about Blake Lively in that like opening scene in her gown, like at the little bar, and I'm just like trying to like be that.
But you are that. You've been that.
In that, I am that too. Yeah.
Yes, I am that too.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about like school or even industry, anything like how was school at the National Theatre School for you? How are all what and your work afterwards? What did you learn from that? How did it like be what was good for you? But also when you talk about like there's other ways to do things, like did you learn that in those places or how did you learn that? Because I know we've had a lot of conversations throughout our schooling, throughout our work, and like I feel like so many times we'd have our little meetings, me, you, Jeff Ho, often Darcy, you know, we'd be talking, Darcy Gerhardt, we'd be talking about like we'd be, you know, concocting these plans and these things we want to do, and like you know, and they always seem like the other thing, but like we always were excited for it to be the main thing. So that's a lot of questions, but like
Yeah.
take
No, I hear that. Yeah, I think like the biggest lesson I learned coming out of school was that like shit's tough, man. Like it's hard. Like and like it was great because like you have, you know, like we always felt so nice to like secure gigs after school. We're just like, yeah, I'm like going here and I'm like going there. And I was so lucky I realized to have had a gig right out of school to do letters to my grandma in Montreal. And that was like so cool. But then I just had no work and I was like, what am I? What am I doing? What do I do? Can I do anything? And then the reality of like, oh, I also can't even get into a lot of school because some of the programs or some of them don't accept the certificate. You're like, just name it. Yeah, but yeah, but unfortunately, at that time, I was like, maybe I need to something else, and something else needs to happen, and all to say like that was another realization. And then I was like, you know, I guess I just have to find it. And I mean, I did the artist producer training program because I'm like, I'll make my own work.
Where was that?
That was a Generator.
Okay, cool.
Formerly Staff.
Okay.
Yeah, and like a mentor, Anita Majumdar, shout out, what is my mentor and now very good friend. And she was like, "Why don't you
at school?"
No, but remember I was paired with someone else who kind of didn't want me.
I know my mentor now. It didn't happen. Like,
hello, and like, yeah. So I just like, I just like don't know anyway. But I reached out to Anita and I was like, can you just like be my mentor?
Yeah.
Anyway, but which is like sometimes that works. Like you're to email and have coffee with like everyone when you graduate school, and that's just like don't do that. Only have coffee and like email people that you actually want to work with, which is something else I learned.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I realized that I just had to like find ways to like find different ways to learn, like because it clearly wasn't going to be the suited up institutional like university route. And I just didn't have the patience to like do all the work that I have to do that, like be done. But I was like, this is just a waste of time.
There are so many other ways to learn.
Yeah, there really are. And I just started applying for stuff. Like I like asked someone for a TCR and I was like, cool. I like copied basically the outline and like just started submitting those and being like, great, I'll learn how to write by writing. So I'll fund it through TCRs. Then great, then I'll apply for residencies or this and that. And like lots of places said no. And I just went with the places that said yes. And they led me to producing, like, and now I'm just at a place where it's like, okay, well, that's just like the motto I'm heading into the world, like the next year into. Like I always apply and I'm always applying to things and I'm just like, feels like it. And that's like probably a lifelong thing that artists just feel like we're just always applying to things. Yeah, just like try to see what sticks. I don't know what the question was, but did I answer?
I don't know. It's like what you learn from school.
Oh, yeah.
What you learn in life. How another thing like, how are you able to find that like that other way of working? I guess like what taught you that way, and what is that other way of working? Like what's the way of working taught somehow generally in institutional settings, and then what is the way that you are trying to play around in?
I think I'm trying to play around with it like straight up. There are no rules. Like that's how I'm looking at it now. Like if you, and because I think, and we talked about this earlier today, and because I was saying, yeah. And I feel like I don't know why I'm giving that reference because like no one knows we spoke today. Now they do because I told them.
Because no one's here. We're just chilling.
Yeah, it's just us.
Hanging out.
I just seem to block them out.
We like recheck the viewers. One viewer. I don't know. It's just like my YouTube open.
It's just my family and that work friend you were talking
They're
about.
not watching. Just
Okay, sorry.
I'm kidding. They are.
And we're getting deeper and deeper.
Oh my.
2 viewers.
Just joking.
This is joking in caps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where I am now. And like school was crazy. Like I think when I got out, like I kept saying, people were like, how was it? I'm like literally the craziest 3 years of my life. It felt like I just feel like when you're deep inside a conservatory, like a program like that with like just 8 people or 10 people, 11 people.
There's 12. We started with 12, then 11.
Yeah. And like, it was just us, and to be with us, the feelings and the types of relationships, like that was also the education. Like that, I think was one of the strongest parts of the education was like, how do you work in an ensemble? How are you with people? How can you?
Yeah. And we're so young, like looking back at that time, I think a lot about like my awareness around even my own body itself within the industry. I don't use that word often, but like being a Black person or like whoever I am, like I didn't really have the language for it. And then until like after we talked, me and Jeff, like we talked about things, but
we talked a lot. Like I was always like because those are the friendships that have stood. And like, I mean, I respect everyone that we graduated with, but like the things that me, you, and Jeff had talked about, like, and we had gone into it, and the stuff, because all those feelings, they come up, and the work, like everything's so together. You have to process everything together. Sometimes it felt like. Yeah.
And it's such a weird environment. One thing I feel like there's a lot of ego. Like I remember being like at shows and being like, they fucking sick. We're amazing. It's like, no, we aren't. And they're kind of good. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Like just like before the show even begun, it's like this thing that gets in you, and it's like, why? Like, just be real. But we're also young. Like it was my first time moving out. Like asserting my ego, I guess, but also like this weird competitiveness, and there's roles and this and that, and then being like a person of color, like how do we relate? We get this. It's like, why did we get that? What does that mean? And I thought a lot about, because I really I like school a lot, because it was very alternative in a way, which is really good for me. Like I was like, wow, this is weird. It's every day. It was weird, and I like that. But I thought, like, how many teachers of color did we have at the time? I can remember one.
Well, how many teachers of color do we have right
now? I think two. And how many teachers did we have? A lot. So it's like there was more of us than the teachers over a 3-year period.
Yeah, it's like we were taught only like one narrative, really. Like, like that's what it feels like sometimes. And when you graduate, it's like my narrative is going to be substantially different than my white counterpart. Like, and like it's just, and I mean, but we're all going to have different journeys anyway.
Everyone.
Yes, we have to figure it out. But yeah, like that's given. Yeah. I love this so.
When I don't know what to do, I'm like, hello. Hi.
At one point, just be like, but like it's just, what am I saying? Yeah, like you have to. What am I trying to say? I agree that school was also a very great place for the type of learning that I excel at too, because like I need that. It was like a hands-on, like all the way. And I remember starting to be vocal about like having those conversations, like, look, I maybe want to like be the lead here, or like I like this project, and like speaking up for yourself. But like I noticed that I didn't really learn how to do that until like way after. Like it's only, and I guess that's with time. You're right. We're so young when we go.
Yeah, and you learn from, like, you probably learned something from Anita, just talking to her after, and the other people who have been working for a long time,
And we do find each other, like all the NT, like when you graduate, like
you're like, help me.
Yeah, I love those events where like they're like, hey, you just graduated. You're okay. Like just like fear. She's like, yeah. I'm fine. What do you mean? I'm fine.
I remember, I want to talk about too, like, so internet, me and Sehar in class, we would like laugh a lot, and it got to a point. It was like really bad. Like we'd find something funny, and I don't know if you all know, it's something funny, and you just press your like arms slightly into the person beside you. It's like that one press speaks so many words. You're like, what is going on? And I feel like it got to such a point where we're like, that would happen. I like couldn't control my laughter, and as you were saying on our phone call before, though, you would somehow get in trouble. Like I somehow wouldn't be noticed or something.
No. I don't think you're being clear. Like not somehow. The majority of the time, I was being called out, and Stephen was like, for some reason, we'd both be laughing, but I would be the one to be like, Sehar, okay, are you with us or no? Like,
I hate that. I'm sorry that happened. And I feel like I'm sorry. I probably made you laugh too. And we would do this thing where it's like, we do this like model face, like really intense, like look. I would like feel Sehar looking at me, like
that's it.
I wouldn't even look at you, and I just feel you looking at me, and I'd be like listening to the teacher, like in this way. And
most of the time it was like I would just feel your gaze, like it's just. Like, when we're in the middle of a scene and I'm in it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, I just feel you so hard.
Yeah, that was so fun. And another part I was thinking about that was really special was when me, you, and Jeff Ho, we got into a room, and Jeff Ho had like an adaptation of Phaedra, was it?
Yeah.
And we just got into a room and we just like jammed a bit, and we got to be so intense, and there was no
went for it. We had like a workshop.
What?
We workshopped a bit of that.
Yeah.
And we were so, oh my God, that was like and that's the coolest part of the school. Like I did, like the time was great, like the best and the worst 3 years, because we had access to all that. Like we could just room.
studios and stuff. Even like, I remember, like renting video cameras and making things.
The library. Oh my God, the library was incredible.
Really, really good stuff. And also we went to Newfoundland together. We went to Fogo Island in second year.
Fogo.
Did the ARC with the National Arts Center, and we shared a room, like a living room, and we watched True Blood and just had a good time. But I remember us doing this really intense like improv. I think it got too intense. We were improvising, and Stefan had to come down and be like, "Is everyone okay?" We were like, we were just acting.
We would do intense improvs. Like
Those were fun because now I feel like I'm more aware in a lot of ways, and I'm happy for that. I'm aware, at least maybe not all the time, but when people are around me, I'm aware of just like their space and this and that.
Yeah.
And also pushing boundaries so I can balance it. But at that time, I feel like I was just like going into abandon, especially with like improvs with you, these like fun things. And I felt like the acting was free. And I don't know, I also did this like one time improv with like Sheila Haney, and we improv, like we were just like being a couple breaking up, but we did it for like an hour and a half. And by the end, I was like, this is intense. Like, why are we too far? But it was like so good because we were just like, you're just like in it, but you're playing. It's just like, it's
remember.
So I love playing.
Yeah. And like, remember even like,
ooh, Christmas tree.
Oh, that's such a pretty tree.
Yeah, I just honestly, there's wigs on it. There's like, you just put whatever you are. But me and my roommate made that popcorn thing last
Oh, that's good.
the fire.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. I think like, I miss that. Like, I want to just get into a room so bad. Like, I just want to go and work with the people I want to work with. And not because, just because you make those relationships and those collaborations and you just want to like keep them alive.
Yeah, you want to work with some people and then you meet new people and it's magic. Hopefully. Yeah. What's something, if you were to get into a room right now, what would you do? How would you, first of all, what your dream, your project, and I know you're working on one, you can talk about that or something else if you want, or something. Mm-hmm. Or how would you work if you were leading the room? What kind of, I was thinking about what you were saying earlier about other ways, and it's like, in school when someone just says, today we're going to work outside, and you're outside and you're like, why haven't we worked outside all the time?
Ever? Yeah.
Dark room, just like looking at these desks. So what would what might you do? It's funny because you actually directed 12th Night and we rehearsed in a park. So
yeah, I remember that. That was man, so many lessons, but that was so many lessons, but that was fun. And that was a great time. And it was amazing rehearsing outside and like just like staging in a park. Like that was cool. And to be able to do that was cool. And if I get into a room right now, I want to be in a room soon, and I'm planning on being in a room in the new year. And what I want to do, I'll just talk about that, is work on a piece that I'm working with at Theater Direct, hopefully in the new year. Like it will be. And we're going to be talking a little bit about like of theater school and like looking at institutions and abuse of power and what that looks like and how students are affected. But trying to figure out what that is, and how I would want to be in a room is like with collaborators that I've already like been in rooms with, and like to me it's like sharing like the role of a facilitator at the beginning at least, but like share it, like passing it off, like, and being like, okay, like, well, let's do this exercise and like you take that lead us through that exercise, or like me lead through an improv, or me lead through like just something comes up.
Yeah. And if you feel like that's open to each other, and I guess creating a safe space that people feel they can be heard, establishing that really, like, who knows what could happen, and trusting one person, it might be quite structured and that might be really good. And then having that balance of something else that's very, othered. Because I guess that's hard because sometimes you're just in a room, it's one person's way, and your who isn't really there.
And I feel like that's only like that. I crave that type of collaboration because I think like that's just how, like, you work as a producer or someone on the like administrative side of a company, and you get to see all the different types of leadership styles, like that kind of leadership, and then how that kind of leadership translates into a room full of actors or artists. Like you, what I'm trying to say is you see so much of it that I'm just like, oh, there's no one way, but maybe there's just like multiple people doing their one way really well. Like, does that make sense? I felt that a lot when I did the Mahabharat workshop at Shaw. You know, like I didn't move on with the production for various reasons, but I remember the rehearsal being like just building that kind of relationship with a group full of people that I've never really met before at all. And just how like the lessons of like, you don't always need to be heard. You don't always, and like that is a lesson in a room that I think is important, because when you don't need to be heard, which is no judgment on you, you're letting someone else just like make something magical. And then they'll go down, and then like major, we played with major, minor, and I think about that. I've been thinking about that a lot, and how like Ravi and Miriam and like they led us through that kind of, you know, like working, and like that's the way I would want to work.
That's nice. And it's also like kind of interesting because your project you were mentioning is like abuse of power and theater schools, and like that a lot of institutions are like that, and to kind of spread that power, because even like sometimes I feel like it's so hierarchical, and maybe that sometimes it can be good to sometimes have a leader, to someone just being like, okay, we're just going to move the ship this way, to make sure that's good. And like maybe someone on the side with or whatever is like, they really need to make that turn, like they're the ones paddling, and that might be their words or their views. And it's nice what you said about just being quiet, or just like reading other people to let them kind of bloom. Just like, that's a balance.
And like I feel like producing has like just my role as a producer and an act, like that's informed that for sure. Like really like working with artists and understanding, like first of all, they're all different, everyone's different, but also like listening needs different things.
Wow. Wow. Holy.
They're getting, our lines are, the phones are going off.
Hello? I wish we had a full
Me too. She's had a few.
What's it called? Like, I don't know. All the phones, different buttons, olden times. I don't have
an assistant, like one of those executive.
Yeah, like basically like an operator. Telephone, not just like the operating system, basically is what.
Yeah. With the headset and the
Hello. Here, what else can I do? Okay, how my note. I just have the note about you falling in the Lorca. You were really good in that, by the way. I really liked you. Sehar, I had a memory today where we did a Lorca play called As Five Pass. Sehar, you just did a little slip down these stairs, and it, like, I hadn't thought about that in like so many years. And then when we were talking today, I was like, wait, did this happen?
Did that happen?
There was another show you fell into.
12th Night.
Yeah.
Big ass heels.
Yeah.
That I had to wear. I don't know.
I felt too. Remember the settee like flipped? You remember that? I was sitting on the settee and it just went poof, and I was like, that was weird.
I remember that couch in the green room and the now we're just talking about fun things.
What else was fun in our lives?
What else was fun? But yes, the Lorca, man, that was one of the, Jeff was so angry at me. And we were working with Guillermo Verdecchia, which is like so great. But I was just like, it was an interesting time. We had just come back from Fogo and tensions were high.
Jeff watching?
I think so. Was that just, okay, never mind. I don't know. Sorry, I brought it back to it.
Tensions were high.
Remember when we came back? We all were so like.
I mean, that was a long, tiring trip, but Yeah, but I love also that play, learning about some of these like artists that went before, because Lorca, just Lorca. I read more about Lorca and knowing he was like this queer playwright, and it's really sad because he got killed by the Spanish government in the 30s, and just kind of for being who he was.
He's a beautiful writer. Like,
Yeah, so beautiful. And thinking about just the creative lineage is really exciting of who we're connected to.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me consult my notes. Just like no other notes. I'm like, huh.
Well, I guess that's it. We're
No. Stay on the line, people. Also, I just wanted to say I have a note that says, even when we don't talk, we are great friends. I think that about us because like we somehow really managed to maintain our friendship in a really nice way. And it's just like, I miss you. We had one like far away hangout during this whole pandemic and that was really nice.
what a time that's so true. Like I feel like, yeah, because like those relationships you build, like I said, and that like intense 11 people, you find your people. Like, and even when you graduate school, like you really do find your people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes time, and sometimes you're with people, then they reject you, and you're like, cool. Or sometimes you're just not invited to other parties with people, and that's okay too. But you do find the people that like want to do the same stuff as you, or like think like kind of cool.
Yeah, there's so many people. I went for a walk the other day at Woodbine Beach, and I passed this lady, and I don't know if you ever like clock a stranger and you both know you're just like really into each other, like, and not in, it's not a dating thing or like in that way. It's literally like, wow, like I want to be your friend. And she just walked by me and said, hi, how are you doing today? And like I knew we both wanted. I was like, I'm doing really good. How are you? We just walked away thinking like, I love this person, and it just reminded me there's like incredible people everywhere. Like when the cars drive by, I forget, like I sometimes try to like go into the car world, and there's like music and like a whole life in there and like a heart beating and just everywhere. And we live in a city, or I live, I guess you're in Hamilton, but like we live in an area with millions of people, and it's like, and then thinking about like the potential for it says my internet connection is unstable. Am I okay for now?
It was just like going off a bit, but I think you're back.
Okay, well hopefully, I mean, if I freeze too much, just you can just go.
Wrap it. Just wrap it.
Just talk.
Wrap it up. Thanks so much for coming to this interview with me.
Thank you. I am Sehar.
Yeah.
But it just makes me think about like all the potential people we could make with, but like the people, because of several different barriers, whether that's just the way things have always been done, or financial, or just like don't have that access, how they aren't, all of us aren't able to witness or get the, I guess, the grounds or whatever for that work. And it'd be so exciting. And when we're talking about vision and dreams, like representation and all these things, how to see the real art, like not that what's happening isn't real, everything is real, but like to really get a vision of that person in the car, that lady I passed on the beach, or like the people who you don't see because of many different reasons. And
I feel like I've been learning, like, you work in the industry and you work with the people and you work with the processes and procedures that we work with. And like, I'm learning so much about how our systems and institutions are designed. And this is kind of where like the piece that I'm working with the commission, like that work is stemming from this place of like, there's so much about how it's designed to like actually keep people out, or actually there's no space. And not to say that there wasn't space at one point for that particular type of people, but what I'm saying is that so much of the process and the way we do things don't serve my artistic practice and like the way I work and the way thing. And it's not to say it's wrong, it's just to say that I had to then, and continue just to like try and find those different ways in, like we've been talking about, you know, like the different ways and the different ways of connecting with all those people that you just listed as like an interaction with. Does that make any sense?
I mean, it's just it. It's just your thought.
Yeah, it just like, because it feels so like, yeah, like, oh, like this system is not built to serve me and how I work, and like I work in the system in a way to like help other art come up, but like in a way it's not serving me, so you know. I don't know.
No, I hear you. I'm just thinking like if it doesn't serve me or you at times, like then I think about other people. It's really not.
Oh yeah, it's like, and like, yeah.
I remember I was doing a play, and it was really good, and the writing's amazing. But at one point, someone was like, "Oh man, we're doing like God's work. This is so good." And then I was like, "I mean, if it was free," I'm like, God's work does not cost $75. Thank you very much. And like that sort of thing, and it's like, I mean, I feel like there are many ways to get around that. It's like we need to make money, this or that. Like I was thinking of making a show where some tickets are $500 and some tickets are $5.
Yeah,
help me. But I'm like, maybe there's other ways, or like you share something else, or like.
Do you think there are people out there that would be like 500, no problem?
I'm telling you, it's going to be so good. They're like, we need to get in, you know, like.
Yeah, 500.
And like, there's different ways of outreach, connecting. We were talking about this on the phone. Like, outreach, I find sometimes is like, can be kind of like, is a word, but it's not always like, are you really reaching? Because you got to reach out, like, and you put the out before the reach, so it's even further than reaching out. But like, how are you doing that? What is,
because it's not, because it feels like it's not just that. It feels like it's not about outreach. It's like, no, I want to build a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what, and like, how do you say that? Like just off the bat, like, no, I don't want to just reach you with this work. I want to build a relationship with you.
And there's many different ways to do that. And it would probably be, instead of just, I imagine being like, come watch this, it's like, come be a part of this in some way, and making it more community oriented, or, you know, I'm like, serve food. I don't know. Like,
always, there should always be food.
I had a whole theory this summer about like spanakopita, where I was like making spanakopita and the idea of like giving it to people. And I thought, what if I gave every neighbor on my street? Like, how would that, like, dreaming of an action and then doing it and just like seeing the consequences. And I feel like sometimes we're scared of like the action or the work of that action. But then like I ended up getting into friends because I'm kind of shy around my neighbors. I've met a lot, and I'm that weird neighbor who's like, hey, do you live here? I live down the street. Yeah, with my hair.
Yeah, but like the hair adds another level of like, hey, are you new here?
Are you new here? But I really love doing that, just like the potential of neighbors and communities, and how just the creative ways you can kind of activate the possibility. So it might be sharing food, but even when I gave it to certain people, like I message people on Instagram, like, do you need some food? I'll come deliver you like a piece of spanakopita. Like I ended up talking to people I haven't talked to in months. Like someone helped fix my bike. Like there was a sharing that happened. There was a consequence of like goodness and sharing that was outside of, you know, monetary thing. And I mean, I also, time is weird. I feel lucky because I'm not stressed about money because I'm receiving the CRB, and I have an affordable house to live in. So I'm realizing that rest and a home and all these things, if the work, sometimes I'm like, what about a theater that could offer home? Like, could an art be connected to offering a place to live?
Like, why not? Yeah, it's because it's whatever you want to make it. Like that. And that's like the wildest dreams thing, right? Like that's where I'm coming from. Like, why can't art be activism? I saw this piece through Hack Lab that was this young girl who decided to, and like I don't know the name, so I can't say the name or anything, but I can post it somewhere if people want to watch. But this young woman who, excuse me, was like basically like harassed, and like an incident went down in her dorm room bed, and she wore her bed around as a performance piece, and she had like a list of rules, like I can't ask for help to carry the bed. If someone sees me struggle and they ask me for help, I can't answer, but if they just start helping, that is allowed. I think that was one of the, and she just had these list of rules for like what can and can't happen with this bed given its context and history. And it's just like that piece and so many other pieces, like through Hack Lab, like it just shifted. It's been shifting the feeling or the perspective I have of like there really aren't any rules. Like we have designed those rules, and great. Like some people can stick to them and they can thrive on them. And then there's a group of people who just don't want to listen to them, and they want to like break those rules and really expand what this can do, like because it can shift perspective. I think that's why I would hope that's why we all fell in love with it in the first place. At least I did. Like the work, being exposed to that, the true beauty of like integrity and authenticity on stage is I feel like it can really shift, and it can shift everything, I think. But it's not easy. Like I say, I'm hopeful, but yeah.
I just remembered something, but no, it's not easy. And I'm glad you shared that. That's really, even hearing it, it's very moving. And that is the Hack Lab, like young artists, like
it's just just various artists at various stages of their life. So no, not just young artists, and not just it's like anyone, and yeah.
Wow. It just made me think of like, first of all, the rules. I don't know the rules. They who made them, who are how it's been done before. All these things are like sometimes I'm just like, what? And I was talking to you on the phone earlier about that in Octavia Butler in Parable of the Sower. How the character Lauren Alamina says, like, she has her kind of manifesto about change and how God is change, and you can't control change, but you can like shape change. And she really like studies and works, and like she kind of wants to she is creating this new world out of this like wrecked world, and believing in it so hard. I think really going with that and like attempting the best we can to shape change. And as I was saying before on the phone, like there are consequences to our actions. So it's like to play with what those actions are.
And like take like you said this in school all the time or when we graduated, but like fortune favors the bold. Like you always reminded me of that. Right.
No, I think it's both, honestly. But so what?
But maybe I don't know, but you know what I mean.
No, I know. It is both.
Or it's an actual saying. Now we don't know, and now we need to cross-reference. But fortune favors the brave or bold. Either way, acceptable. But do you know what I mean? But like that, like it's like being. We've made fun of the word brave. Like it's really brave, really brave.
Yeah, brave word.
Brave. When you don't know what to say, brave. But yeah, but it is that. It's like it is being brave and bold.
Yeah.
In the offerings and trial by error, and you. I think at one point you asked like how do you find the ways to learn new ways or thing. It is trial and error like time, and sometimes it feels like it's more error than anything else. Like. Yeah. But then something will happen and all of a sudden it's like finally, like and then you're able to put your all because I feel like you've deserved it or you've earned it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're like, is that
was that good?
Great answer. Rolling. We didn't catch that.
So we didn't catch the last 2 minutes of
You're like, oh. Did we end at 8?
Yeah, I think so.
You think I was okay? Did I talk too much?
No, I thought you were great.
Because I know I'm like interviewing you, but it's also a conversation.
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation.
Yes, yeah.
And like, I'd love to hear nearing the end, like maybe coming back after all of that, like another wildest dream or a vision. Like I want to hear, I want to see, like it's like a theater exercise. Wearing, got my necklace. Like
Yes, take your necklace.
I want to. Can you share? Can you vision for us? You know, I'll support if needed.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
yeah. Fill in the holes, fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
I think it all starts with like I think it all starts with compassion and humility. I think that's the baseline of whatever the wildest dream is, and that meaning that like that's the wildest dream is that everything starts from there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it builds on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And like yeah, and like wildest dream to create something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
No, like just to make something I'm like, fuck yeah, I did that. Like that's me.
Yeah.
And not in like not a selfish way that like it's about me, but like no, I did that.
Yeah.
I want to share it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really nice. That it's so simple, but it's so, like just to make something you're proud of is like
because that's what
everything you believe in is held in there.
Yeah.
We're able
because that it's so often it doesn't happen, or we've been in projects or rooms or in situations where, you know, sometimes that doesn't happen. And sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And it's like that feeling is like it's the worst feeling. It's like the feeling of disservice to like, you know, to anyway, yes.
Yeah, but with compassion and humility, like you can move on from that and keep going. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to tell our viewers? This is just an hour, right? Well, it goes till 10. I'm like, consult my notes.
I mean, you know, just I hope everyone has a happy holiday.
Yeah.
I hope just people take a break and like, yeah, this time has been really hard on everybody and different degrees for everybody. But yeah, so I hope everyone finds time for themselves and rest, because I know that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, to everyone.
Yeah, and recharge. That's what I'm focused on.
A little moment of rest. And if you're really rested, you can also help other people rest somehow, maybe financially. I'm living with Khalil, he's building tiny homes for homeless folks in Toronto, like these. And
live with him?
Yeah, he's subletting for a bit.
Oh wow!
Just to know like that you can just make like that's a big thing about action. It's like, okay, someone's not doing that, you're just gonna go and you're gonna do it. And because of that, someone warmer tonight. Someone's alive actually because of that. It's very moving. So if you can, anyone out there can offer and help with those things, and so we can all rest.
Yeah.
And it's a very strange holiday too, and you know that people are probably a lot more isolated. So hoping the best and loving, and if there's anything I can offer, I don't know, like I can draw you something. I can feed you Spanish.
I mean, and Stephen, you make a killer risotto.
You always say that. People are always like, "What's this risotto I hear about?" And I'm like, "I don't have energy."
It's so good though. Wait, was it risotto or paella? I can't remember, but I remember.
Or a risotto recipe with paella. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it was so good. You made it like 3 times.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I made it once at my house, but I burned my roommate's pot. Like the bottom of it was like, I really had to scrape, so I didn't do that again. But anyways, I guess that's like we. I love you so much. It's so nice to like have this hangout, witnessed by the masses.
The masses. We're gonna blow up tomorrow. We're gonna get all these Twitter notifications. Like,
I do not have a Twitter,
okay.
but I will get Instagram.
Well, I have a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Facebook, and I barely use all of them except to like look at things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You gotta look at things. You gotta see what's going on.
but I posted today.
Yeah, you did. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
I guess we just. I'm asking
Yeah.
you. We just like say goodbye. Did Lisa just say yeah? Okay. Yeah. Lisa says
Yeah.
yeah.
Bye. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you, everyone. I love you
Thanks,
all.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for tuning in. Like, I hope that was enjoyable to any degree, and I hope you are well and